Hello, I'm Gigi the Reader, and today I will be reviewing The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. The Girl Who Drank the Moon, the story starts out in a town by the name of Protectorate. The book is basically about a small village of people who live on the border of a forest where a powerful witch lives deep in the woods. There's a tradition of the village that they give or sacrifice their youngest child in the village to a witch once a year. The witch has never been seen, but she does take a child away every year. There is a council of elders who determine what child will be sacrificed. Normally, it's the youngest baby in the village. The belief is if they don't sacrifice the child, the witch will kill them all. Grand Elder Gerlin is the leader of the council elders. The name of the village is also referred to as the Cat Hill Kingdom by some or the City of Sorrows by others. It's set between the treacherous forest on one side and an enormous bog on the other side, but its official name was Protectorate. The bog was the people's livelihood. It was a sort of a farm or hunting ground for them. They harvest an array of medicinal plants and magical flowers. They would be sold to the traders from the other side of the forest, who in turn transported the fruits of the bog to the free cities far away. The elders owned the roads in the bog, the orchards and the houses, market, squares, and garden plots. Antane was Gerlin's nephew and an elder in training. He was only 13. Today was the day of the sacrifice that came once a year. The elders would do ceremonial sober processions to the cursed house and spend a somber retreat where the baby would be sacrificed. This year, the head elder, Grand Gerlin, marched. Oh my God. Hold on, somebody's at the door. I think it's my co-narrator, Shaquita. All right, hold on. Let me get the door. Hold on. She running late again. Just a minute. Here I come. Hold on. Wait a minute.
I'm running late. Wait a minute, Gigi. I'm coming. My bees get out of hand. Hello. Okay. Get away from the mic. Here I come. Okay. I'm sorry to young lady again, but my bees was get out of hand. I'm Shaquita. Everybody know I'm Shaquita, the fairy of the bees. But anyway, so what's this about, Gigi? Wait a minute. You mean to tell me I'm coming in the part where they talking about sacrifice? What kind of book you read? It's supposed to be PG-13, but Gigi the Reader.
It is.
And you talk about people sacrifice. This the book. What is this book about? People sacrificing babies in the woods and leaving folks. What?
Yeah, just listen.
Okay, alright. I guess okay. Okay, so okay. I just don't know about this, Gigi. Babies being sacrificed and left in the woods for okay. Well, hopefully it'll get more lighthearted because this supposed to be PG-13, Gigi.
I know.
I don't know who picking these books out. Let anybody know this is not my idea. But okay. Continue on.
Okay. All right. Okay. Before I was interrupted, this year the head elder, Grand Elder Gerlin, marched to the home of the family's house where the baby was to be taken for sacrifice. When they got to this home, the father of the child had been beaten to a pulp, reasonably so by the baby's mother. Then Gerlin entered the house. She vowed he would not take her baby as she clutched the baby to her chest. He had to command a special unit of guards called the Sisters of the Star, who were trained and armed with bow and arrows and swords to confiscate the baby from the woman. After that, Gerlin marched the baby into the forest with his nephew Antane at his side. The elders placed the baby on the ground inside a ring of trees and walked away.
Wait a minute, excuse me. Let me get the mic again, Gigi. Walked away. Hold on, wait a minute. You mean to tell me, Gigi,
What?
that these Sisters of the Star come in and takes when a woman don't want to give her baby up? These what women called Sisters of the Star group comes and take the baby?
Yes.
You know, this sound like a girl game. So the elders, the council and the elders basically just hired a bunch of girl thugs. That's how the street gang, they gonna come and take her baby. What the hell? What's that about?
Well, we gotta keep reading.
Oh my God. But you saw this is a PG-13 for kids. They got a girl gang coming here stealing people's babies when they don't want to give it up, Gigi. I'm just saying. That sounds kind of violent to me. A girl gang gonna walk in your house and take your baby. Well, that's what it sounds like to me, Gigi.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna see what's up with this Sisters of the Star. That sounds Bloods to me. Or worse. Crips and Bloods don't even break into people's house and take their baby. But okay, we're gonna see what's up with them. Alright. Continue on.
Okay, the witch's name is Zan, and she knows a swamp monster in the forest by the name of Glurk. We also learned the forest is only dangerous because there's a volcano boiling beneath the forest. It's a really wide and causes underground grumbling, heated geysers, fissures, boiling streams, mud pits, and vents of foul odors. We find out Zan isn't really an evil witch. She's just a witch who's confused as to why once a year a mother protectorate abandons her baby in the forest, presumably to die. Zan had no idea why, nor did she judge or question it. All she knew was that she wasn't going to allow the abandoned babies to die. So we learned the babies aren't being sacrificed or killed by the witch. We learned that she's puzzled why the babies are left in one specific clearing in the woods once a year. She saves the babies and takes them to a neighboring city to be adopted out. Every year she travels to the circle of sycamore trees, gathers the abandoned infant in her arms, and carries it to the other side of the forest, to one of the free cities on the other side of the road, happy places where they love children. She basically adopts these babies out to a loving family. The town of Protectorate is described as a dismal place, bad air, bad water, with sorrow settling over the roofs of the houses like a cloud. The free cities treated Zan's arrival like a holiday. They were glad to see her, knowing she was bringing a baby. Zan made sure she picked the best families to give the babies to. Zan had the ability to transform herself into a tree. This year there was no baby there yet. Zan had the ability to shift shape and transform herself into other things. She was tired from her journey, so she transformed herself into a tree so she could sleep. She didn't hear the procession of the council approach. She didn't hear Grand Elder Gerlin or his nephew Antang. She didn't hear the baby either at first when it cried. When she finally awoke and gathered the baby up on her way to the free cities, Zan fed the baby bottles of goat's milk she collected. When she ran out of goat's milk, she fed her threads of starlight. Only a witch knew how to collect starlight. Accidentally, as Zan was reaching up, pulling and grabbing threads of starlight, she didn't notice that there was a full moon. Instead of starlight, she was unknowingly feeding the child sips of moonlight from a full moon. Moonlight is magic, and the child had become enmagicked. Zan could immediately sense the magic pulsating through the baby's sleeping body, and remembering from what magicians told her, rearing a magic baby was no easy task. Magical children were dangerous. She couldn't leave the child with just anyone. Then there while holding the sleeping baby, Zan said, "Luna, your name will be Luna, and I will be your grandmother, and we will be family." So she decides to raise the baby herself instead of adopting it out. And so for the first time, Zan traveled to her house and took the baby home with her. Glurk, her swamp monster friend, did not approve of keeping a baby. With Fyron, her other friend, a small dragon, loved the idea of her bringing a baby home. In time, while helping the baby, Glurk came to like the baby too. He took her for a walk with a sling on his back and recited poetry to her. In her second year, Zan and Glurk could sense the magic growing stronger inside her. Magical babies were dangerous babies. By the time she was 3, Glurk was teaching her poetry. Zan taught her science, and Fyrian taught her math. In the meantime, back in the city of Protectorate, Antang, the elder in training, Gerlin's nephew, is not doing well in his training. Nothing he does is good enough now. The elders are complaining about everything he does. His mother is complaining about how long it's taking for him to become an elder. Antane was the oldest of 6 brothers, but his father died years ago, so his mother is worried about his education. In chapter 6, we find that Antane's attention and thoughts are on Luna's mother. He remembers that she was locked away in the tower for the insane after the Sisters of the Star took Luna from her arms. She was referred to now as the Mad Woman. We also find out he has a crush on a girl who once attended his school. Her name is Ethan. She had left the school to join the Sisters of the Star.
Wait a minute, let me interrupt one more time. I am the co-narrator. I got something to say. So you mean to tell me Antane is interested in a girl named Ethan?
Right.
That's training with the girl gang group?
No, it's not a gang.
I'm just saying, Gigi. They sound like a girl gang. So you talking about the Sisters of the Star, the one that goes to people's houses and make them give up their baby? That ain't nothing but a gang. They supposed to be the overseers of the tower, and they seeing after the inmates. You know, they gotta be some kind of thugs. They seeing after inmates, but they damn sure ain't no nuns. They walking in people's houses and taking their babies, and the elder, the council group and hired them to be thugs. I mean, they hired by the council to go in there and be the heavy, to take over when people don't want to get their babies up. Okay. So he's interested in her, the girl Ethan. She must be a little thug too, so Ethan like the little thug girls. Okay, alright. Okay, Gigi, I'm gonna let you get back to it. Continue on.
Okay, in the meantime, Glurk is worried about all the magic that has built up in Luna, and when it will spill out. Zan tells him not to worry because for now she's showing no signs of her powers at the age of 5 and has not used them yet. But suddenly Zan sees Luna is using her magical powers. She sees she can turn a donkey into a toy and a barn into a gingerbread house. Zan reverses the spells, but is worried now that Luna will be uncontrollable with her magic. Finally, Zan notices Luna at the age of 5 was using all her magic, turning dragonflies into the size of goats, transforming swamp vines into water fountains. Zan had to undo every magic trick she did, and it was exhausting her, especially the day she turned Glurk into a bunny, and Zan had to reverse the spell and change him back. She had to put a sleeping spell on Luna just to get her to simmer down. Well, finally, she had to cast a giant protective bubble like a cocoon around Luna to keep her in a sleep stasis.
Wow, Gigi, wow. Now, wait a minute. That sounds like just a little... It sounds like that little girl, the baby Zan, is raising a little Luna than just to be a little badass, that's all. She don't need no doggone spell put on her. I mean, anytime you have a child, you have to put her to sleep into a coma-like state, is what they said, Gigi. And like a sleep stasis, that's what it says. Is she that bad? And she changes, using her powers to change what? Let's say change Glurk into a bunny and change goats into what?
Yeah, no, he changed her to a bunny.
Dragonflies into goats. And, oh my God, and changing barns into gingerbread houses. You know what? She just need a leather strap across her butt because, or a house shoe or something popped upside her head. But I guess whatever works for her. I guess Zan say the hell with this little badass. I'm just gonna put her smooth out into when she says a sleep stasis, she put that little girl in a coma, Gigi. That ain't a sleep. It says okay, I'm gonna read it. She says she cast a jumble like a cocoon around Luna to keep her in a sleep stasis. Sleep stasis is another word for she knocked that little girl out and put her in a coma and made her ass go to sleep. Okay. Okay, Gigi. I'm gonna let you have it, but that's better. Well, that sounds better than having to whoop that butt because I knock her little ass out to her and put in a. That's probably the best thing to do. Okay, I wonder how long she's gonna be in the stasis. I'm gonna let you continue on. Continue on, Gigi. Continue on.
Okay. She told Glurk she had to because Luna was becoming a danger to others and to herself. Finally, she told Glurk she had to travel to the old castle where she was raised. She told Glurk standing in the old castle would help her remember things about her own childhood in order to help Luna. The castle was now an old ruin of stones. Zan found the castle in the rumble of the old castle stones. Zan found an opening in the old stones. It was a dark stairwell. She walked down the stairs where she found books. She walked down the stairs where she found books, maps, and journals in the ruins. Also diagrams, recipes, and artwork. She gathered them up and took them back to her workshop. From studying the books, Zan figured out a spell. She figured that by drawing a 13-pointed star on the ground, she opened a cocoon and awakened Luna out of her deep sleep, and on her 13th birthday she'd be able to use her magic again. But on that day, all of Zan's magic would be siphoned out of her body, and then Zan would pass away. She explained all of that to Glurk before she woke Luna up. She said she'd rather have it this way in order to have time to teach Luna everything about her magic by 13. Even though she'd be an orphan at age 13, at least she'd know everything she needed to know. Never forgetting the day the council ordered the Sisters of the Star to snatch the baby Luna from her screaming mother's arms, she goes to talk to one of the members of the Sister of the Star. Her name is Ignatia. The sisters are in charge of the tower where Luna's mother was locked up after going mad after they snatched her baby away. Antane was sort of traumatized at seeing her locked away and requested to visit her. When he's finally taken to her cell, the sisters guarding her cell door explained that the prisoner had to be drugged with special potions to keep her calm. When he walked into her cell, she asked him, "Do I know you?" He told her no, but he said he was a member of the council and was an elder in training. She was surrounded with many pieces of paper with maps and that said, "She is here." Then she told Antane, "You should tell your uncle that he was wrong. She is here and she is terrible." Antane asked, "Who is here?" She answered, "The child he took, my child." She didn't lie. "Your uncle thinks she's dead." "She didn't die. Your uncle thinks she's dead. Your uncle is wrong."
Uh-oh. Looks like we're getting somewhere now in this story, Gigi. The crazy lady talking, the mad woman is locked up in a tower. Luna's real mama talking. And she telling Antane.
Yep.
Oh, we're getting somewhere now. What did she say? She let Antane know that her child, and she said, "Your uncle is wrong. He thinks she's dead, but she's not." So this woman, what is she, clairvoyant or something? What is she, got powers or something? We're gonna see. It's getting good now, Gigi, because that woman, they got her locked up thinking making her think she done lost her mind, but that woman ain't lost her mind, Gigi. She knows that them people took her baby and locked in that tower and calling her the mad woman. Okay. Yeah, but we're gonna see it's getting good now. Okay, continue on.
Okay. Antane replied, "Why would he think she is dead? No one knows what the witch does with the children." She retorted, "All I know is this. I know where she is. I know what you people have done." The woman's cell was also filled with paper birds. She took the scraps of paper and shaped them into birds. As she spoke, the birds seemed to come alive and flutter around Antane. He was suddenly startled and terrified and yelled to the guards, "Let me out." They let him out, but not before the birds had left severe cuts on his face. The paper birds seemed to attack him. And then she said, "You seem like a nice boy. Choose a different profession. That's my advice." In chapter 14, we find that Luna has awakened from her deep coma-like sleep that Zan has put her in. She was put in a coma at the age of 5. Now she's nearly 12 years old, but she doesn't realize all the time that has passed. She woke up in Zan's hilltop home. She referred to Zan as Grandma, and she said, "Grandma, I feel like I haven't seen you for days and days." The little dragon Firen tried to tell her why, but Zan kept her quiet. Then she rushed Luna off to her workshop where she began to train her. Zan began to tell Luna of how she found her in the woods as a baby and how she fed her starlight like honey from the comb, and she was mistakenly fed her moonlight. And that is how you became magicked, my darling. This is where your magic comes from. You drank deeply from the moon. And now the moon is full within you. But when she talked to her and tried to get her to remember, Luna wouldn't, only give her a non-responsive blank stare. Zan said something had went terribly wrong. It was a consequence of Zan's sleeping spell. She was hoping it was only temporary, or Luna would be unable to learn about magic if she couldn't remember anything. Glurk argues with Zan and tells her she needs to know she has magic deep inside her. Zan tells him she's no longer magic or has magic. She's just a regular girl. In the meantime, in chapter 15, we learn that these paper birds really tore Antane up. It says the paper cuts were so deep he ended up laying in a pool of his own blood on the mad woman's cell floor he was visiting. His mother was angry and asked why it took the guard so long to get to him when he cried out. People whispered that the paper birds were a fantasy that Antane probably cut himself. Whoever heard of paper birds attacking anyway? After living through that drama and healing, Antane pronounced it to the council that he was resigning, effective immediately. Antane became a carpenter because the paper bird attack left him with permanent scars.
Wow, Gigi, dang. I would do the same thing too. I'm like Antane's mama. What the hell took them so long to open the door when he got cut up by some birds? And it say he was left with permanent scars by the paper birds. I would be pissed too. I mean, because anytime you let him stay in there that long where he was on the floor bleeding, I'd be angry like his mama. I'm surprised he ain't more angry, but he did leave the council. He had that much sense. But, them birds tore his ass up. They left him made out of pie. I ain't never heard no paper birds here. They must have tore his ass up. They left him permanent scars and made him quit the council. Well, at least he's a successful carpenter. It's getting good. Continue on, Gigi. Continue on.
Okay. Even though he became a very skilled and popular carpenter in his city, his mother was still disappointed he didn't become an elder on the council. Still years later, Antane's mother hoped he'd one day return to the council and go back into training as an elder, a grand elder. Maybe because that grand elder was her brother, Antane's uncle, but Antane disagreed. But over time, the more successful and popular his carpentry business became, his mother agreed with him that he chose the right profession. Later, he visited one of the sisters who worked in the tower where the mad woman lived, Sister Ignatia. He visited her to tell her he could not make a desk she had put an order in for. He said he was too backlogged with other work and clients. While visiting with the sister, he ran into an old classmate. It was the girl named Ethan. He had a crush on her in school. She informed Antane that she was dropping out of school for training as a sister to the Star Group. Ignatia told her she was disappointed but wished her well. Ethan and Antane get reacquainted as he helped her walk her luggage out of the facility she once trained in. In chapter 16, we switch back to the mad woman in the tower, the one believed to be Luna's mother. She doesn't even remember her own name, but her caregivers, the Sisters of the Star, notice she is obsessed with paper and ink and constantly writes maps and repeats over and over, "She is here, she is here, she is here," and constantly makes paper birds and fly them out of her prison window. The sisters have no idea where she's getting the paper or ink from, since they never supply her with anything, so they assume she uses magic.
Now wait a minute, Gigi. This woman so we find out that the crazy woman, or the mad woman, what they call her now, Luna's mother that's locked up, she does have special magical powers where she's conjuring up ink and paper. Mm-hmm. And she can write, must have an ink pen too. She writing them. What the heck? What? If she could conjure up ink and paper, why come she can't conjure up a file to get out and file her way out and saw her way out the doggone jail cell? Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, Gigi, or a knife to cut one of them thug-ass Sisters of the Star.
Wait a minute.
And conjure that up. Cut them. That's what I would do, Gigi. I'm just saying. Wait, okay.
Move.
You know what?
Go on.
Okay, alright. Well, take your mic back then, Gigi. I'm just saying. See, like, if it was me, Gigi, I mean, take your mic back, but I need to conjure up a gun or a knife to cut or shoot one of them doggone gangs. Women that's in there, the Sister of the Star, saying I'm going to get out there. Okay. Alright. Continue on till you get to, push your way through the mic. Continue on.
Okay, all right. Back to Luna in chapter 17. We fast forward in time and she is no longer a 5-year-old. She's 11 years old now. Her grandmother Zan is still raising her. When not spending time with Glurk or Firen, she travels to the free cities with Zan once a year, and it's the only time she spends with other children. When not traveling, she spends time in Zan's workshop studying mechanics, botany, astronomy, biology, and poetry. We switched, and Zan is visiting the town where Luna is from and walking towards the tower where her mother is imprisoned. The mad woman senses that Zan the witch is approaching. The mad woman has the power of magic and knows if she could break out the tower, she'd be able to find Zan and her house. The mad woman could see her from her high cell, the witch approaching the forest surrounding the city, and the elders approaching from the other side with the baby for the traditional annual day of sacrifice. They were all heading for the clearing in the forest. We found out that now Antane and Ethan are married. They're also watching the annual march of the elders, marching the baby to the forest clearing outside the city of Protectorate. They want to have a baby, but they think of the mad woman locked in the tower who had her baby taken away years before, and the mad woman in the tower wonders why the other parents have never put up more of a fuss or fight like she did when their babies were taken. Even Antane thought to himself, why hadn't anyone tried to talk to the witch or reason with her about sacrificing babies? Antane was married and loved now and needed answers, so he did something no one ever did in the tradition of sacrifice. He rushed past the ancient sycamores and hid himself in the bushes and waited for the old men to leave. Antane leaped out of the bushes and stepped between Zan and the baby and yelled, "Stop!" Zan was shocked at the strange man, and thinking the baby was in danger, she used her magic and tossed him aside. "Out of my way," she yelled. Zan then transformed herself into a large hawk and swiped the baby up in her talons, carried it over the trees, and lifted it away into the sky. Even the mad woman could observe the whole scene from her tower cell, so he was unsuccessful this time and did not catch the witch. In the next chapter, at age 11, Luna naturally got into the habit of drawing maps just like her mother, her real mother, who was locked up in the tower. Even though she didn't know where her real birth mother was, she started to draw pictures of towers. Luna found out some of the people in the free city where children were brought as orphans to be adopted like her were referred to as star children. In chapter 20, some memories of Luna's real mother started to come back to her. The next chapter, Luna notices her grandmother Zan is getting weaker and more sickly, so she also notices that she can understand animals' language. A bird, a squirrel spoke to her. One crow starts to follow her around. Later, Luna goes up onto a hilltop with her friend Firen and goes into a deep trance-like meditation. She likes to draw, and this time she draws places she's never seen or been beyond the other side of the forest from where she lives. She ironically draws a tower and words around the tower saying, "She is here, she is here." The next chapter is a scene back into Antane. He's now married to Ethan, and they're expecting their first child. He's visiting his uncle Gerlin, the grand elder, and he's also visiting the councilmen, and he's there to thank them for giving him a place at their table. He's also there to plead with the council, at least request that his unborn child not be sacrificed to the witch in the woods, because his child is the youngest baby in town and is due to be born at the end of the year, near the day of sacrifice. They told him they couldn't guarantee his baby wouldn't be sacrificed. He told them, "I believe I know the way to end the tyranny of the witch forever." He explained to them. He saw her, and she saw him, and turned herself into a bird. Antane drew a map of where he followed the witch into the woods. He showed it to his uncle and the councilman. Antane said he planned on being the one who and hiding in the trees the next day of sacrifice. It's a simple plan. I shall follow the map, I shall find the witch, and I shall kill her.
I know he done grew Antane done grew him some balls. He ain't the shy person he was. He's a married man now with a wife and family and a child, and I don't blame anybody with being that saying he gonna kill that witch. Even though the witch, he don't know what that witch gonna do because everybody think it's that. So we just killed the baby. So of course he's not gonna let somebody take his baby and sacrifice his child. That's right, Untamed. Show you the gruesome balls, man. I mean, seriously. And what the hell is wrong with his uncle? His uncle is the elder, the grand elder. Your own uncle is gonna let you seem like he would have some pull with your councilman. His uncle ain't shit. I'm sorry, excuse my language. Because anytime you let your great nephew, that would be Antane's child, would be Gerland's great nephew. And you gonna let your great nephew be sacrificed and you can't just pick somebody else's child if you gotta sacrifice somebody's child? I mean, he need his ass whooped. Gerland ain't about nothing. I mean, you gonna let Antane, tell him Antane, tell him you can grew some balls. I don't blame him. He wouldn't sacrifice my child. But in the meantime, I don't know about him what's the point of having somebody related to you on a console and they're not gonna take it for their own blood? I mean, come on now. Come on now, Gigi. Okay, alright, I'm sorry. So I carry on. Continue on.
Okay. The scene switches to Luna awakening in the middle of the night, not feeling well. She walks into the woods and comes upon a large rock with a message written on it, reading, "Don't forget." Then it opens from the ground up like a door, and there are stairs that lead down into a cellar. She finds an entire workshop with shelves and books. Oh, okay, a weird side note, in chapter 26, we learned that the crazy lady, aka the mad woman in the tower, not only can manifest paper out of thin air and make paper birds out of paper that really fly. Her other magical ability is that she can turn herself into a small insect, any small insect, a cricket, a spider, an ant, a water bug, a cockroach, or a bee. She hopes that one day she might be able to hold a form as a bird long enough to find her way to the center of the forest. Instead, she became a beetle and would crawl out of her cell down the hall.
Let me get to this mic. Wait a minute. Wait one damn minute, Gigi. You mean to tell me this fool can turn herself into a small insect? It says, what?
Yep.
She can turn into a small insect, a cricket, a spider, an ant, a water bug, a roach, a bee?
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious? And she can, this whole time, I mean, we learned earlier in the story that she could make ink and paper out of thin air. We don't know how she get there yet. She can make ink and paper and make these paper flying birds, and she can write maps and stuff, but they don't give her, she can conjure that stuff up. And not only can she can turn herself into a small, Gigi, who wrote this? I mean, we need to put this author or writer on blast, because that just blew her story out the water. Because if this woman could turn herself into a small insect, a cricket, a spider, ant, why wouldn't you crawl yourself out that doggone prison you in? Mm-hmm. You unjustly been put in. They took her child. You could turn yourself into a spider or ant or bee. And seriously, and I know bees can fly. I'm Shaquita, the fairy of the bees. Bees can fly. You should come out holding her form to be a bird. Damn a bird. Be a bee. Be a spider. Be an ant. And crawl yourself out that doggone jail cell and crawl yourself to freedom.
Right.
She could have been crawled up. Okay. Alright. So she just crawls out to go spat on somebody's conversation down the hallway.
Yeah.
Instead of crawling her asshole out that damn tower. And out her jail cell and down the road to freedom. Okay. Okay. Alright then, okay, well, continue on. I don't have nothing else to say. Continue on.
Okay, so at any rate, one day she crawled out and spied on a meeting Sister Ignatia was having with Gerland, the grand elder. The grand elder Antane's uncle told sister Ignatia that what was supposed to be a secret between him and his nephew. He told her Antane had planned to follow the witch at the day of sacrifice and kill her. Sister Ignatia said she couldn't let that happen, but she didn't say why. She told the grand elder that Antane would have to be killed first. She said she hoped the forest would kill him. She said it is possible he may return. Then she told Gerlin, your sorrow is very real, but it can't be helped. The boy cannot return, and it must be evident to all that it was a witch who killed him. He cried and asked which of the sisters would kill him. She answered, I shall do it. Gerlin asked, are you sure? She answered, I am. You may be rest assured. I will be quick. His death will be painless. He will not know of my coming, and he will not know what hit him.
Wow. Now this part is really sad. Not only John is straight up. Gerlin, the elder, the grand elder, he is straight up punk. Antane's don't go here about nothing. You gonna let not only does he not have no pull with the council and to save his own great nephew, but now you gonna let this fool say that he's gonna have to be killed. Somebody is plotting to kill your nephew, and you ain't got nothing to say. So I guess his position on the board as a councilman is more important than his nephew and his great nephew. So okay. Oh God, I can't wait till it. I hope this. Well, I'm just saying, Gigi. I'm hoping this story takes the turn where he get what his grand elder get what's coming to him, because he just ain't no damn good, Gigi. That's all I'm saying. He just ain't no good. Okay.
Right.
Continue on.
Okay. Later, Luna is still in the cellar of books. The workshop, the pages of books speak to her and tell her a story about an orphan girl found by a tall woman with considerable strength. The child she found was small and sick. Her parents were dead. The child was full of sorrow and cried ceaselessly. The tall woman took the child to a group of scholars who decided to experiment on her and fill her with magic. It had never been done before with magic. They know the experiment might have killed her, but they figured she was near death anyway. The magic overtook her body and the experiment got out of hand. One wizard, Zosimos, warned them to stop. He called himself the girl's guardian. Zosimos grew old and weak. He could not protect the girl anymore. The little girl became known as the Sorrow Eater. The papers tell Luna, we only hope that after our sacrifice, she will know what to do. Luna asks, but who? Who was the girl? Can I warn her? The paper spoke. We thought we told you already. Her name is Zan. In the next chapter, Zan decides to turn herself into a small bird, a swallow, and fly off on a journey to find Luna. Meanwhile, Antane's wife, Ethan, gave birth to a boy. They named him Lucan. Only weeks away from the day of sacrifice, Antane was set out on his journey soon after his birth to find the witch. The mad woman in the tower could see Antane leave his house from her cell. With her magic, she turned her iron bars into paper, and the stones that surrounded her windows, she turned into pulp. She turned the pulp into a school of birds that carried the mad woman on their collective backs and flowed into the sky. The sisters discovered the mad woman had escaped an hour after dawn. Forensic explanations, search parties, and detectives were sent out to search for her.
Okay, so finally, Gigi, we getting somewhere. Finally, this woman that broke herself out this cell, and we're not gonna mention the fact she probably could have did this years ago. When her child was still a baby. I mean, she could turn a buzz, but we're gonna get past that. But so she had enough for school to take all these little birds and turn the birds into a school of birds that would carry her out through the window. Okay. She was using the wall inside her jail cell to turn the pulp, to make the paper, to make the birds, and so the birds carried her over the forest out of the jail cell. Okay. Alright, so we're getting somewhere now. She finally broke out. I mean, it's about time, but I don't know what this writer thinking it broke this. Okay. But we're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with it. We're not gonna pretend like she could have crawled and stuff out there when she could turn herself into a spider or an ant or whatever, or a bee. We're gonna go pick it, but now she's out there and made a flock of birds to carry. Okay. Alright, Gigi, continue on.
Okay, so meanwhile, Glurk and Siren are worried feverishly about Zan going out on her own alone. Eventually, Glurk decides that him and Siren will go search for Zan. They travel into the woods. Luna has an accident while traveling the woods. There a volcano brewing under the floor of the woods. At some point, the ground gives way under her feet and she falls and tumbles below the ground. Meanwhile, the mad woman is still traveling on the backs of the flock of birds that carries her through the woods. She is searching for Luna. Finally, the mad woman spots 7 craters made of stones. As the flock flew over the woods, she sees the 7 stones making the border as she has seen in her mind. Near was a workshop made of stones with an observatory. The birds took her down for a landing. She felt her heart give a great leap, and she thought, she is here, she is here, she is here. As the mad woman sat among her flock of paper birds, she tried to gather her thoughts. She knew she was looking for her daughter and couldn't remember her daughter's name, nor her own name. She had been locked up so long she had forgotten most of the past, but she remembered she had a husband. The woman didn't realize she had landed right at Luna and Zan's home, but no one was there. She walked inside and inspected the home. Inside the home, she saw pictures of Luna, Zan, Glurk, and Siren. She saw drawings on the wall by Luna with her name signed on each drawing, Luna. The mad woman whispered, Luna, 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 my daughter's name is Luna. She knew it in her heart. It was true. She knew she lived there but wasn't home. Luna and whoever else lived there were all in the woods, and there was a witch in the woods. Meanwhile, in the next chapter, Luna is waking up from her fall. The crow is with her. She looked over her map she had drawn. She was determined to find her grandmother Zan. Luna didn't realize Zan had turned herself into a bird, a small swallow, and she was searching for a baby near the sycamore trees that she picked up once a year. Luna found an abandoned ruin of a village over a ridge. She climbed down to the village. Suddenly, Luna looked up in the sky and saw a mass of paper birds. She said to herself, magic. That's what magic does. The next chapter of the book gets depressing with a flashback of Zan's childhood. But finally, during the night, Zan wakes up still in her bird form and spots a man. It is Antane. Antane sees her but ignores her. He's searching for a witch he has to kill before the day of sacrifice to protect his newborn son. Zan in her bird form startles Antane and he strikes the bird with a rock. Zan fell at his feet, a wounded bird. Not knowing he struck the witch in disguise, he feels sorry for what he did to the bird. He scoops the bird up, sees it has a broken wing, and decides to take it home to his wife Ethan, who loves animals and likes to take care of sick animals. So he decides to take the bird to Ethan. It states that Sister Ignatia has swallowed a lot of sorrow in the town. We find out that she feeds off sorrow and was searching for Antane to stop him. She's also searching for something called the 7 League Boots. In chapter 34, back in at Antane's house, his wife is visited by Antane's uncle Gerlin with 2 sisters of the Star Soldier. they had come to take her baby for the day of sacrifice, but Ethan only questioned where was Sister Ignatia, the one who routinely showed up for the yearly ritual. Ethan stated to Gerlin she knew Sister Ignatia was most likely searching for Antane in the woods because she knew Antane was searching for the witch so he could kill the witch to keep her from taking the sacrificed baby in this case, his firstborn son. He couldn't let that happen. Ethan had put it together in her head why Sister Ignatia wasn't there, but instead she yelled at Gerlin, "You sent my husband into the woods to die. Your own nephew. You sent a murderer after him, the first son of your own sister and your best friend. Oh, uncle, how could you?" But it wasn't quite that day of sacrifice yet, and she told the two sisters there with him who she knew from school, "I think I need to visit my former sisters." The two women hugged and then they left her house.
Okay, so now move out the way, Gigi. I can mic again. Wait a minute, okay. Alright, I know that's right, Ethan, girl. This one, she wasn't gonna let nobody take her baby. All the history where these people been taking babies and sacrifice, Ethan was not having it. Okay. Ethan, from the beginning of the story, we know that she was practicing to be a sister, one of the sisters of the stars, the little thug women that watches the tower. That girl gang, but that's what it actually is, just a girl gang. But Ethan, she didn't want to be one. She decided to get married and have a baby with Antane. So, but now she's showing she not having it. She said she going to talk to them sisters. She is not having it. Guess what else, Gigi? I ain't gonna tell you this. Guess what?
Oh God.
She gets into it when she gets to the. They try to start some straight rumors about her, and she about that life. I'm not trying to let you know right now, Gigi. Ethan is about that life because like I said, she dropped out. She didn't want to be no sister of the star. She said she gonna go ahead and she know them, so she got some pull with them. That's why she said I'm going to talk to these sisters. She said she gonna go visit her former sisters. So she about that life. They try to dig up some dirt on her and talk about her, but she put them straight. I got a recording, Gigi. Okay.
Oh, God. No, a recording.
I'm telling you, Gigi, I got a recording. I got it of yes.
Okay.
I have a recording of how it went down. How that conversation went down when she got to and she let them know. But, they tried to bring up some dirt on her and talk about her before she got married and but she put them in their place. Ethan about their life. Okay, I'll let you know. Here's the recording. All right, continue on. Go ahead and play the recording. Continue on.
Okay, so this is the recording that Shaquita, our co-narrator, has of Ethan going to the house to confront the whole group of Sisters of the Stars. And, okay, so let me see. Here we go.
I don't give a fuck what type of hell kitchen show y'all got, bitch. Because I'm up in here to bring fire. Since you always want to be half eat cold, fuck all that, bitch. One thing I don't do, I don't argue and go back and forth with bitches. I don't do that. I'm sick and tired of going back and forth with your house. Now I'm ready to fight every last one of you all. Y'all bitches, y'all punks. Stop making fake shit about me. If you ain't seen me do no bump, if you ain't seen me do nothing, don't say shit about me. Okay, keep that. That's all I'm saying, bitch. And I'm 35 years old. If I want to do some bristle, if I want to be homeless, if I want to suck dick, if I want to prostitute, if I want to do any motherfucking thing work, bitch, I'm grown. Bitch, I never hung around y'all, and I never will. I don't be in the same motherfucking vicinity, establishment, none of y'all hoes. Bitch, stay on the bingo side. Don't come running y'all mouth about me. And I'm gonna let y'all know that this is not what y'all motherfucking want. And bitch, Miss Rick Rockstar, I be in Houston soon with my motherfucking nigga. If you want these hands too, bitch, you could get them. Cause bitch, you ain't being embarrassed yet. Y'all fat hoes act like y'all can't get slapped in y'all motherfucking face. While you over here running around here being a motherfucking microwave contractor, looking like a dirty ass funky beneath the bitch. I don't give a fuck. And I'm sick of y'all. Skinny bitches getting beat the fuck up. Girl, please. I ain't got whooping. I ain't playing no bitch. I ain't got whooping since I was born. And bitch, I ain't You lost your man. They're not gonna respond to your man, bitch.
No man love you more than he loves
Rick Rusty. You lost your man with that Cincinnati ass city ass bitch. Your man love you more than he loves you. I don't give a fuck.
I get to see that ass dick
Hold on. And let me tell you another thing about me between me and you bitches. You all always been the left dog. I always been the done dollar, the HBIC.
You was the left dog.
You was the left dog. It doesn't matter. First of all, you laid on this lady boy.
You was the left dog at one point, bitch. Don't feel like bitch, you ain't no left dog.
You was an original.
You was the left dog at one point.
And I can't take you all serious, bitch. You all over here begging every day. Bitch, you all over here begging every day. While y'all was talking about the beggars, y'all became the motherfucking beggars, huh? Get it together, huh? You all don't want this motherfucking work. Shut your motherfucking ass up and suck my motherfucking pussy, bitch. Cause I'm sick of you.
No, it be your dick.
I'm sick of you fat, nasty, musty hoes, bitch. I'm sick of you bitches. Stop running y'all mouth about me. Y'all don't know.
So I guess she was pretty heated. She let them know. I don't blame her. She put them in their place about taking. She didn't want to see where they're gonna take her baby. Okay. So, meanwhile, the devious sister Ignatia hadn't found Antane, but it caught up with Luna in the wood. Luna runs into the crazed sister Ignatia, who's looking for her boots. Luna doesn't know who she is. She just sees her as an evil woman, a stranger to her. She ran into the crazed woman, sister Ignatia, at an old tower in ruined village with her magic. The crazed woman, sister Ignatia, toppled the old tower over with her rage after she could not find her boots there. But the paper birds from the mad woman's flock showed up and protected Luna by attacking sister Ignatia. Later in the next chapter, Glurk and Fyron are still searching for Zan. Meanwhile, Sister Ignatia consults her scrying device and sees the boots. She sees a vision of someone taking them out of a box and putting them on, but she can't see the person's face. She's angry and says the person who has them doesn't know how to use them. She could see the area where the wearer was walking. The area looked familiar to her. She had to find the 7 league boots. Meanwhile, Luna was running away from the evil woman. The evil woman being Sister Ignatia. Then she stopped to read the map which she was following as a route she thought would lead her to her grandmother.
From this crazy evil woman, Sister Ignatia, looking for her with her 7 league boots. I know, but she's a little bit of a drama queen because I know she had to stop and read the map and find her grandmother. But guess what, Gigi?
Oh God!
I got a recording.
Oh no!
Yes, Gigi. I know you don't believe, but I got a recording of her running through the woods, and it wasn't that serious because she's actually running through a regular neighborhood just to. I mean, she could be a little bit of a drama queen. Yeah, she was running and panicking. But, she was panicking a little bit too much because she ran, I don't know how the wooded area was. I'm just saying. I got a recording. I don't know how wooded the wooded area is and how scary it's supposed to be, but she actually ran to some people's mailboxes. And you know, some people's mailboxes sit on the edge of the road.
Mailbox? What?
When out in a rural area, I don't believe she was in no deep woods. Come on. And she ran into somebody's mailbox and she tripped over somebody's garbage can and but we gonna go with, but I got a recording though.
Ah, boy.
Yes, I do, Gigi. Okay, we're gonna play the recording. Okay. Just for a little bit of comic relief, but she'll be alright though. Okay. Alright, continue on. Here's the recording. Play the recording. Alright, continue on.
Okay, this is the recording that Shaquita claims to have of Luna panicking and evidently not in a deep woods, but in a regular neighborhood or rural area, tripping over mailboxes and garbage cans. So here we go. Here's the recording.
This shit is so black. It's just blackness. It's just like ebony out here, bitch. This is blackness. Oh my God. I just keep walking and I hope I don't bump into shit. Cause it's just darkness. It's just darkness. Oh shit. Oh. Bitch, I'm scared if a dog come out and bite me. I don't know what to do. It's black as fuck out here, bitch. I just ran into somebody's mailbox. Black as fuck, bitch. It's black as fuck. I don't see nothing. I just ran into a mailbox. Oh my god. I can't see shit. Bitch. I just ran into somebody's trash can. I just ran into a trash can. I just ran into somebody's trash can. And it's cold.
Wow. I hope she be alright. Oh my god. Okay. You're so silly. Okay, alright. So she ran through the woods. Okay, so suddenly Luna has a memory from her early childhood. A memory of a conversation her grandmother Zan had with Glurk that was a witch who was in magic at the age of 13. She would be in magic and Zan would be gone. Suddenly, out of this instinct, Luna made a scrying device out of mud and grass and asked it to show her where her grandmother was. She saw a man with a heavily scarred face. She didn't know who he was. He was Antane, and he was unknowingly carrying her grandmother to his house. Zan was disguised as a sparrow, and Antane only knows that he is carrying an injured bird to his wife to be healed and nursed back to health. And it only confused Luna that she was seeing a man with a scarred face and not her grandmother. She figured the device wasn't working. Meanwhile, Antane is traveling with the injured sparrow back home and has to stop and camp for the night. He's lonely and depressed and starts to talk to the small bird about his problems. Of course, not knowing he's actually talking to a witch, Zan. Zan listens in her sparrow form as he tells the bird how he dreads the day of sacrifice and explains to the bird how their village sacrifices a baby once a year in the woods to a witch. His baby was the next to be sacrificed. Now it all comes together in Zan's mind. She knows why the babies are left among the sycamore trees and she finds once a year. But he doesn't know she finds those babies loving homes. She is shocked and saddened and in awe, and in how sorrow-stricken the people must feel to think they have to sacrifice their babies to her. With all her might, Zan wanted to transform herself right then and explain to him it was all a mistake. The children were not killed, and reassure him his child would be safe, or any children in the past were safe and alive. But she didn't have the strength to transform herself and reassure him. Antane spilled his heart out to the sparrow and tells the sparrow because he loves his son, he will kill the witch or die trying. We learn that Ethan's own brother was sacrificed to the witch before she was born, and she always wondered what happened to him. Ethan's mother died when she was 16. Her father died before her mother, and all her older brothers were married and had moved away, so the Sisters of the Star took her in at the time. Ethan has already figured out that the real witch did not exist as in the stories. One day Ethan walked into the tower and announced to the Sisters of the Stars that an evil witch did not exist, not a baby killing witch as the tale went. Then she taught Win, Antane's youngest brother who worked at the tower, to release all of the prisoners from the tower.
Yay! The end.
It's not the end. Oh my god.
What?
No.
It's not the end?
Nope.
Wait a minute, Gigi the reader. Okay, Susan walked in and told her brother-in-law to release all the prisoners from the tower. and that there is no evil witch that they're thinking about that shows up on a day of sacrifice, not the evil witch that everybody's been told about. And Luna's on the way to find her grandmother, and Antane is out searching for the evil person, and they live happily after ever. And Easton already checked the sister that they're not going to take her baby. She done put them in check. We done heard the recording. And, so, right, okay. Happily ever after, the end.
No, not yet.
Okay, alright. Okay, Gigi, alright, so we got, so they got a little bit more story to go.
Yes.
Alright, so we got to find out what actually happens. Okay,
right.
When they all meet up in the woods. Okay, we haven't got to that part yet. Okay. Alright then, Gigi the reader, continue on.
Okay. The longer Sister Ignatia was away from Protectorate, the brighter the city became. As the fog and clouds lifted from the city, the mothers of the children who'd been sacrificed started having visions, not dreams but visions of their sacrificed children. They saw them as in present time, some grown and married with their own kids, and now they were all suspicious of the council lying to them. Suddenly, people were protesting outside of Gerlin, the Grand Elder's home. In chapter 39, Byron starts to grow from a tiny dragon into a larger dragon unexpectedly. Glurk explains to him he'll soon be a full-grown dragon. Also, everyone in this story, no matter where they are noticing the ground is starting to shake and rumble. It is the volcano that is about to erupt. Byron warns Glurk that the mountain is on fire underneath their feet, and they must warn Zan. Antane is still on his mission to kill the witch while explaining everything to the small injured bird, not realizing the small bird is Zan the witch. He doesn't know she's the good witch who saved all the babies on the day of sacrifice. He spots Luna moving up the mountain and assumes she's the witch, so he plans to kill her. In the meantime, the mad woman remembers and has found Sister Ignatia's precious 7-league boots and is wearing them. She can feel them giving her power. Sister Ignatia spots her and the boots and wants them back. Sister Ignatia, is in her tiger form, demanded the boots from the mad woman. The mad woman refused and said she knew all about her and about her stolen baby, and that she knew where she was now. She was on her way, coming closer and closer. "Give me the boots," she demanded, and now she was in her human form and threw knives at the mad woman, but missed. Then the mad woman ran away into the forest. Sister Ignatia went after her.
Wait a minute. Threw knives at her. So Sister Ignatia lost her damn mind. We thought the mad one was crazy. Sister Ignatia threw knives. But this is PG-13, ain't it? Gigi the reader.
Yes.
So she really about that life. She threw knives after her, then chased after her through the forest. Wow, Gigi. Wow. So somebody had to bring Sister Ignatia down a peg or two. She about that life. Alright. So, yeah, they're gonna have to do something with her. I told you, Sister Ignatia, she put that Sisters of the Star. I told you she was nothing but a thug-ass girl gang, Gigi. That ain't nothing but Sister Ignatia is the head of a girl gang called Sister of the Star. And, I don't know how PG-13 is supposed to be. Anytime she throwing knives at somebody. Okay, but I'm gonna let you continue. Continue on.
Okay, so now Luna could feel herself changing, mind, body, and soul. She could feel the magic in her bones. As Luna ran closer to where her grandmother was, she sensed she was with a man but Luna didn't know it was Antane. Antane, who was planning to kill her, assuming she was the evil witch, and she didn't know Zan was in the form of a small bird with Antane. Now it seemed everyone, at least all the main characters, were meeting up in the woods all in one spot. Luna to her grandmother, Zan and Antane, the mad woman, Sister Ignatia, chasing after the mad woman, Glurk and Firen searching for Luna and Zan. They could see the stream of shimmery blue and silver magic Luna left behind her path. They followed that path. When Antane saw Luna, a young girl instead of a witch, he assumed it was still the old witch disguised as a young girl. Finally, three main characters meet at the top of the ridge. They're about to clash. The man leaped, the girl leaped, the mad woman leaped. So finally they all four met up. Antane is terrified of the mad woman's birds. Luna assures him that they're not dangerous and promises him she won't let them harm him. This is when he realizes Luna isn't the evil witch. Then they see the strange woman wearing black boots. Antane recognized her as the prisoner tower, the mad woman. Then the woman looks at Luna and murmurs, "She is here," over and over, and Luna hears the words, "She is here," in her head. Then the mad woman looked at Luna and said, "You are the baby." Then the small wounded swallow leaped out of Antane's jacket, and Luna identified her immediately as her grandmother, Zan. Luna looked at the swallow and demanded, "Show yourself." Then Zan shape-shifted back into her human form. She yelled out to Luna, "My darling," then collapsed onto the ground. Luna grabbed her grandmother into her arms. Zan looked at the mad woman and recognized she shared the same crescent moon-shaped birthmark on her head as Luna. Zan then explained to the woman that Luna that she thought she'd been abandoned in the woods, but realized now she wasn't. The mad woman in the boots exclaimed, "She wasn't abandoned, she was taken. My baby was taken." "Yes, I see that now," Zan says. Then Zan explained to her that everyone that every year a baby was left in the woods to die in the same spot, and every year I carried that baby across the woods to a new family who would love and keep it safe. Zan apologized to Luna's mother because she had no idea Luna had been taken from her and not abandoned. Zan was very weak now and explained to Luna that she was dying and that she had lived to be 500 years old. Now all of her magic would transfer from her body into Luna. Now Luna would become a powerful witch, even more powerful than Zan once was. Now Antane realizes that Zan was not the one demanding the babies from the protectorate. They all got acquainted. Out of nowhere, a tiger approached onto the knoll. It shape-shifted into a tall woman. It was Sister Ignatia. She demanded the boots from Luna's mother. Zan exclaimed to her, "Hello, Sorrow Eater." Glurk and Firen spot Luna, Zan, Ignatius, Luna's mother, and the mad woman from the tower. Glurk tells Firen that Ignatia is the sorrow eater. She spreads misery and devours sorrow. It is the worst sort of magic. She is the reason why you were raised motherless and why so many mothers were childless. I suggest we prevent her from making more sorrow, shall we? Antane doesn't know Sister Ignatia is the sorrow eater and asks why she's there. Luna sees the mad woman and instinctively knows she's her mother. Zan tells Antane that Sister Ignatia is their witch he's looking for. Zan tells Sister Ignatia none of the abandoned sacrifice babies died. She saved them all. Zan let everyone know Sister Ignatia took the babies so the parents would grieve and she'd feed off their sorrow. The mad woman even told everyone that Sister Ignatia fed off the sorrow from the prisoners in each jail cell in the tower. Then the mad woman siphoned all of the Ignatia's magic out of her body, making her weak. She fell to her knees. Just then, Firen, now grown into a large dragon, flew onto the scene. When he saw Sister Ignatia, he knew she was the one who killed his mother, both his parents. He grabbed her and said, "I should burn you up." Then Glurk ran up and told Firen to stop. He said, "No, Firen, that answer is too easy, my friend. Look deeper." Luna figured that Sister Ignatia found a way to eat sorrow and turn it into magic. Now her magic had leaked all out of her. Firen cried and released her, and Zan called out to him. As they all stood and watched Ignatia's body age suddenly and go limp, the ground beneath them started to shake and rumble. The volcano was about to explode. The mad woman said she could get them all out quickly with the speed of her boots. Antane and Zan rode on her back as the boots carried them back to Pretoria, while firing flew Ignatia and Glurk down the mountain to protect her. Luna protected the entire city from the erupted volcano lava by covering it with a giant magical bubble. The people were all informed of the crooked dealings of Sister Ignatia. The council elders were now imprisoned in the tower. A new council was elected. Zan and Sister Ignatia were both hospitalized in the tower. The people of Pretoria wanted Ignatia locked away in the tower. Luna and her mother moved into Antane and Ethan's home with them. Luna learned her mother's name was Adara. Later, Luna, Adara, and Ethan went to visit Elder Gerlin in the tower where he was jailed. Adara told him, "The new council said that you can be pardoned as long as you are willing to apologize." "Then I shall not leave," he snapped at them. Ethan said, "I recommend you apologize." He responded, "Never." Ethan replied, "That is a pity. Goodbye." And they left him without another word. A very sad ending for a children's story, even though it ends well for the entire city of Pretoria and for Antane, his wife Ethan, firing the dragon, Luna, and her mother Adara. But it didn't end well for Zan and Glurk. Glurk stayed at Zan's bedside as she grew weaker and closer to death. Glurk's skin grew drier and drier. He needed to bathe in the swamp water, but hadn't been able to visit the bog where their home was before the volcano erupted. Finally, Zan grew so weak and barely able to talk. Glurk took her by her hand, and before Luna and Adara could visit her, Glurk and Zan returned to their home in the bog, where she could bathe, and where Zan would return to her final resting place and take her last breath. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe, and join me on my next review, my first romance book that I review, called A Prince on Paper by Alyssa Cole.